So you're thinking about selling your home? Well, what do you do to prep it for the market to make sure that it gives the best impression for buyers that are viewing it? Well, today we're going to go over the tips that I suggest as a realtor, so stay tuned. All right, so as a realtor, I work with a lot of buyers and I work with a lot of sellers, and we're gonna be going over some generalities that you can do and some more specific items that you can focus on as a seller. But what I'd like to start with is the mindset. So as a seller, I would suggest putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer. Think like a buyer. What you should do with that is you should probably detach yourself emotionally from the home. That's gonna help you see it from a buyer's perspective. How can you do that? Well, you can go ahead and put away some more specific things that might be like family photos or photos of your children. Make it a little bit more generalized so that people who are walking in, they can picture themselves there. So, first impressions. Let's go ahead and start with the exterior, and let's go ahead and get into that. So, the important thing when you're working with a buyer as a real estate agent, you're going to find out that there's a lot of people that make their decision when they first pull up to the house. It's surprising. So they're going to have a real impact with the curb appeal. So focus on that curb appeal. What can you do with that? Well, landscaping is really important. So if you have grass that's getting old, reseed it. If there are some weeds, get them out of there. Put some mulch around some trees if you have any. And if there's any areas that need a little touch up or some paint, go ahead and do that. Landscaping doesn't have to be too intensive, but it can be a real inexpensive way to make things shine a bit more. So if you want to grab an extra potted plant and put it in on your patio or entryway, it's a good time to do that, but focus on that curb appeal. Like I said, if you have some paint that needs to be touched up, go ahead and do that. I also suggest doing a power wash. If you have a paint job that is within the last 5 or 6 years, a pressure wash can really clean off all the dust and grime and maybe spider webs to make sure that it looks nicer. And sometimes when people look in the eaves, if there's some spider webs or some gunk up there, just get that rinsed off with the pressure washer. It's really inexpensive and it can make a big difference. So focus on that exterior and focus on that first impression and declutter that front yard if you got anything that's cluttering it up. So number 2, really important, hire a professional cleaner. Now if you're not hiring a professional cleaner and you want to do it yourself, that's fine, but make sure that you really do a deep clean of your house. This means doing cleaning your carpets with a carpet cleaner, wiping down the walls, making sure to get rid of any odors. Do a deep clean. That is going to make a big difference. It's going to help with the aroma and it's going to help with the aesthetics. Even if you have an older home, but if it's clean, that's going to make a big difference. So very, very important. Make sure you get a very deep clean. Ideally, hire a professional cleaner. So my grandparents sold a home in Santa Monica, and my grandmother really likes bright accent walls. And they had a nice, beautiful home in Santa Monica, and some of the walls were like bright red, bright yellow, etc. And they ended up having a tough time selling it. But their realtor down there that was helping them out, they recommended toning down the paint. So that's my suggestion too. Tone down the palette of the interior paint if you can. You might like that really bright accent wall, but you're trying to appeal to more buyers. So if there is a way to tone that accent wall down, I would suggest that go ahead and paint that over with a more neutral tone. And the funny thing is, the buyer that ended up buying my grandparents' house, they didn't buy it when it was all brightly colored and with those accent walls. They bought it after my grandparents toned down the walls. They ended up painting the walls with some really bright, fun accent colors. So it's not necessarily that people don't want those colors. They want to be able to make those changes themselves and pick the colors that they want. So think more of a blank canvas that's going to appeal to as many people as possible, and they can make their own personal touches to it. So as far as arranging furniture, think decluttering, think organizing, think making the room look bigger. That's really the focus for that. So if you have extra furniture that makes your room look small or like there's just too much going on, go ahead and get that out of there. It's better to have less furniture and keep it making look like the room is bigger than not. So as far as the furniture goes and rearranging, just think, how does it make the room look bigger, or does it make the room look smaller? And the focus there is making the room look bigger. So keep that in mind. So I signed a listing on Monday a few days ago, and it's a beautiful beach house that has an awesome view off the balcony of the Pacific Ocean. So my suggestion to the seller, along with all of those things that I said in this video, was to focus on the focal point, where people are going to be spending time as buyers and what is really going to be a selling point for the house or the property. In this particular case, it was the balcony off of the front that overlooked the ocean, and like I said, beautiful views. And I suggested, hey, put out a nice plant out there, a nice outdoor plant, maybe a tropical plant, and make sure that you have some chairs, and maybe put out a table so that people can sit down and look across at the ocean, because that's really what people are going to be doing and what they want to do, what they want to buy. That's what they're purchasing the house for. So think about the focal point of your property. It could be by the pool, it could be outside under the pergola, whatever it is. Try and focus on that in any way that you can, so that the buyer feels attracted to spending more time out there. Like I said, in this case, with the beach view home, it was outside there in the balcony. So keep that in mind. As a buyer, you're going to be wanting to spend some time out there, and where they're going to be making their decision whether or not they write up an offer, well, make sure to focus that they are out there where the nice spot is, instead of a bedroom or something like that. So that's another tip. So you don't have to go crazy to get your home prepped up for the market. There are just a few things that you need to keep in mind. Curb appeal, the first impression, is an important one. Make sure that you have a professional cleaning. That's going to be important. And then your pressure washing, things like that, fixing up the paint, arranging furniture, that's important, and focusing on that focal point. Ultimately, the buyer is going to fall in love with it because that's just what they love. But you can do some things to make sure that it appeals to the most amount of buyers. So those are my tips for today. I try to make a new video every single week, so stay tuned for the next one. I talk about life and business and real estate. Like I said, I'm a real estate agent here on the Central Coast of California. So if you have any specific questions about your property, or their home buying, home selling, or commercial purchasing or selling, feel free to reach out. Be happy to talk to you. And if you're out of the area and you want to talk to somebody, a realtor or a broker, reach out. I'd be happy to provide you with a referral, and you can chat with them and ask them your questions. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment there. Subscribe, like I said. Have a good one. Take care. Talk to you later.